Happy holidays from all of us at LEX 18.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Evan Leek. We are breaking into programming to get the latest from Frankfurt about the state's winter storm response on the roads, power outages, and more. Here's Governor Andy Beshear.
That can cause frostbite pretty quickly, as well as roads that are dangerous to treacherous to simply impassable in many places. The main message to Kentuckians is stay home, stay safe, and stay alive. We are having dozens upon dozens of accidents across the state, interstates. As soon as we get them cleared, we have another issue somewhere around the state. It's simply not safe to travel right now. I know that's hard because it's Christmas Eve, but our job is to provide you the best safety information we can because, listen, this holiday, Christmas, is about life and new life. And we want everyone to stay alive so that they can celebrate with their families. The good news is tomorrow, temperatures will be coming up. Road conditions ought to get a lot better tomorrow when temperatures reach a level that the salt actually works on. Transportation is trying really hard to do the best they can with roads across the state right now, but it is simply too cold. And the way this wind gusts through can create blizzard-like conditions very quickly with the snow that's on the ground. So, folks, it is still very dangerous out there. Wind chill advisory remains in effect through this afternoon. Don't let advisory fool you. It is really cold in the Bluegrass region, up to negative 17 or 19 degrees below zero in wind chill. That is frostbite in 30 to 40 minutes, but it's going to hurt really bad before that. You know, if you're out 10 minutes, even less, you will really feel it. So please, everyone stay indoors. Roadways, again, are hazardous to treacherous to impassable. As an example, since Thursday night, we have had 3 separate major accidents on the same stretch of I-71. We'll talk about that and a bunch of others as we move on. And more snow is on the way with the light snowfall possible Monday into early Tuesday. 1 to 2 inches are expected across the northern and western Kentucky regions with lesser amounts elsewhere, but it will be warmer then. And road treatments ought to work a lot better. Temperatures will not get above freezing until Tuesday for most of the Commonwealth. But folks, hunker down. Let's wait this out because by Thursday, highs are expected to be in the 50s. And by Friday, maybe even in the 60s. I do want to go back before we move to roadways. And could you show the slide that talks about frostbite and has that chart? Yeah, this shows you just how dangerous it is out there. You know, we have temperatures that are, in the 5s to 10s, maybe to the 12s, but then we have the wind gusts, and so you get very quickly into the blue to the darker blue. That's when it gets dangerous. We're currently in the lighter this 30-minute area, hoping that we will get out of that tomorrow, but still pretty concerning out there. Again, roadways are treacherous. We are urging Kentuckians to stay home to ensure their safety and to help our first responders and our road crews so they can do their work. Remember, when there is a tractor trailer jackknifed, and virtually all of these major road incidents are multiple tractor trailers jackknifed, it means that we can't get the transportation crews to the place to further treat the roads, makes it hard for first responders to get to people, and it takes a massive effort to clean up and to get people back on the roads. Think about how heavy these trucks are, how many of them there can be, and what it takes to ultimately get the roads opened up again. Specific closure right now, avoid I-71 in Gallatin County, especially at mile marker 63. Northbound traffic is being detoured at exit 62, but stay away right now from the entire area. The southbound is moving slowly. I want to emphasize that we need folks to stay away from this area. What we're doing right now is first, we want to get all the vehicles that have been stuck out. To give you an example, over the night, we had about 700 vehicles over 14 miles that we were able to evacuate, most by shutting down the interstate and turning them around, getting people out first from the back. Now, we can get some of those that are stuck northbound, but it's going to take some time. Once we get that done, we're going to treat that area significantly, do the best we can, but we got to let the transportation trucks be able to go back and forth, which they're doing right now to help clear it out. Once we reopen that section of I-71, we're going to have to do it at a reduced speed. Right now, the speed plus the conditions have caused 3 separate accidents just in this area, more accidents closer to Louisville. So the entire section of I-71 from the 75-71 interchange to the Watterson is going to be reduced to 45 miles an hour until we can get through this tough and dangerous time. While some people may view that as an inconvenience, if you're going even that fast, it's dangerous on that area right now. And we believe this is our best chance not to have a 4th major incident that shuts down this section of the interstate. It's going to take an executive order. We're going to get it out, but we believe this is the best way to keep traffic moving. We'd appreciate it if our media partners let people know that while the A section is shut down right now, as it opens up, 45 miles an hour on that entire area of I-71, and we would suggest to people that they actually go a little bit slower than that. In that backup, I know that was tough for a lot of folks, but we did wellness checks on every single vehicle on I-71 in that backup. No tragedies or serious medical injuries. Certainly had to help a lot of people. I know a lot of people were scared. It was a major tractor trailer jackknife that took a significant amount of time to clear. Thank you to the National Guard, the Kentucky State Police for doing those wellness checks. Thank you to local first responders for doing them as well. To clear up one thing I think I saw out there on a social media account, these were separate incidents. There hadn't been a backup since Thursday night. These were all separate incidents. We got one cleared and another happened. We got that cleared and another happened. But we have had issues on I-71, probably the most issues of anywhere in the state since Thursday night. So if you can avoid it, please do. But if you can avoid travel, do that too. We've had at least 3 accidents on I-65 overnight and into the morning. One was in Hardin County at mile marker 91. Another was in Edmondson at mile marker 43. Another is at Hart County at mile marker 52. I-65 also pretty treacherous right now. Those are 3 incidents over just a night into a morning. That ought to tell you how rough it is out there. We'll have Jim Gray here in a minute. He just came from Lexington to Frankfort on I-64 and reports it was very rough going with cars sliding and coming off of the interstate. So again, folks, be careful. Don't travel if you don't have to. Remember, do not call 911 just for traffic or weather information. With all the folks that have been stranded or coming off the road, they need 911. Folks that are in danger to call and to get help. 911 is how one of the stranded motorists lets us know what mile marker they're at and whether they need gas or whether they need heat. So please, if you need weather information, check your news, check social media accounts, and a couple others will go through that. Do not clog up the 911 lines. And again, if you can stay off the roads, let our road crews and our first responders do their work. In response efforts, the Kentucky National Guard and Kentucky State Police have helped recover dozens of cars and semi-trailer trucks. They've refueled vehicles and they've handed out water, bottles and blankets to stranded motorists. Kentucky National Guard moved 40 vehicles related to the I-71 incident, and that's just one major mission. 4 additional military vehicles, including a wrecker, have been sent for extra support on I-71. Soldiers and military vehicles have been deployed to Lawrence County to support medical transport options for emergency management. Again, please stay off the roads. We'd like to be able to send as many of these National Guard as we can home for Christmas tonight. I think there's certain areas of the state we're going to be able to do that. But remember, if you're out driving in treacherous conditions, that pulls first responders away on Christmas Eve from their families. So please really reconsider what your plans may be. Power outages, currently 43,289. This is a developing part of this state of emergency. The extreme cold temperatures are really straining the regional power grid. We've seen multiple providers have to go to temporary outages where they shut down power for a certain area for a limited period of time, which should not cause any harm to folks. The temperature in your house would not drop enough to be dangerous during that period, and then they turn it back on. But there are things that we can all do to help. First, turn your thermostat to the lowest comfortable setting, and then turn off all unnecessary lights. You know, when this was coming out yesterday, I walked around where we live and turned off every light that we didn't need, especially as it's light outside today. Folks, see if you can go without the lights inside your house turned on. That may be the difference between one extra house out there having power versus not, based on the capacity that's there. The utility workers and groups are doing their very best. Negative 15 to negative 30 wind chill would be a strain on any system out there. This is the coldest we've seen since at least 1989. And remember, we're about 3 days into this, so there is that strain. And again, please stay off the roads. Think about your plans and how you have them and what you're doing. I will tell you that our plan was to go to our church, which is in Louisville today for Christmas Eve. We're going to go to a service that's closer here in Frankfort. Make sure that we still get that Christmas Eve service in, but reduce the risk and not get on an interstate where, again, we're seeing some tough results. So we care about you. We love you. We want you to be safe. Now you're going to hear from Emergency Management Director Jeremy Slinker, followed by Secretary Jim Gray.
Good morning, everyone. Thanks, Governor. I'll be brief today. I just want to let everybody know the State Emergency Operations Center is still open, still activated, and very, very involved in the incidents and the challenges that we've encountered in the last 3 days since these record-setting temperatures have came in. So we'll continue to be operating at full staff as we have been, and we've even extended that today to ensure that everyone knew that we were activated throughout the evening and on in tomorrow at Christmas as well. With that said, I hope today is where we turn the corner and we don't encounter these large-scale accidents that are causing so many challenges to travel and safety. So I just ask all of you, work with us, and again, turn the corner today, and let's have a day that is not doesn't end with a large traffic backup or challenge or an injury or worse. So with that said, I'll kind of hit that thing, high points of my last 2 days on my briefing. Be safe. Stay home if you can, as the governor said. Remember, on the generators and alternate heating sources, make sure you use those properly, and those generators you use outside. So be safe in that way. We keep emphasizing that because the temperatures haven't fully let up yet, and I know those are out. And the power outages that were mentioned, you might be using your generator in the near future for a short time. Just remember what we said, use it outside. Would mention that we the travel trailer sites that we've talked about several times. These temperatures did pose challenges for us in those travel trailer sites. Some water lines froze, some furnaces went out, but I will tell you, our teams, our field teams, and those periodic checks were spot on. They made sure everyone was safe. We handed out bottled water. We repaired furnaces. We found heaters that do not cause a fire hazard or carbon monoxide hazard to supplement where we needed to as well. And then one site in particular, it just wasn't going to be able to get it repaired before evening yesterday, and we were just too concerned about the temperatures. So as we described earlier, we implemented a transportation and evacuation plan, and the site of Crockettsville in Breathitt County, we called on our great partners with the Kentucky Fish and Wildlife Law Enforcement Division, as well as Kentucky State Police, to bring out four-wheel drive vehicles and help pack people's belongings and move them to the Buckhorn State Park Lodge. We confirmed yesterday evening all 8 of those families that hadn't already made arrangements were arrived safely, checked in. We checked on them this morning. They're doing well. We hope when the temperatures move on, we get their trailers repaired and we get them back to a place of normalcy. 2 families did not have any utility or water issues, and they chose to remain because they were doing fine and they were happy to spend the holidays where they were at. And last thing I'll reemphasize, the I-71 is starting to clear up. We're watching it closely. The semis are in the right lane. The left lane is being cleared by Kentucky Transportation Cabinet, and traffic currently is being diverted off that exit so that we can keep those areas cleaned off and cleared, and hopefully to have a full opening in the future. That said, I'd like to ask Secretary Gray to come up and talk about transportation. Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Director. Thanks, Director and Governor. The Governor and the Director both has really said it well. This is still an active weather event. And I can tell you myself from driving just from Lexington to Frankfort how these icy conditions are affecting these roads and affecting people, affecting these cars, these vehicles that are stalled, that have slid off the road. We saw 2 on the way over that had just slid off the road. Versailles police were with 1. So the conditions are still very present, very treacherous, and very dangerous. Our crews at KYTC, at the Transportation Cabinet, have been on duty overnight. We'll work all day today to get the roads clear, to get them passable. But we advise everyone to please stay off the roads. These are still life-endangering winter conditions. The Governor said it already, staying safe is more important than getting to any destination. Even though this is Christmas Eve and this is Christmas, we've got to think about being safe. If travel is unavoidable, then expect to be delayed, possibly for an extended period. And that's why being prepared for lengthy delays is so important, and having an emergency pack in your vehicle with water, food, a flashlight, batteries, and blankets for keeping as warm as possible. And also, said this before, saying it again to punctuate it, make sure your gas tank is filled before heading out. Now, let me speak to a minute why the interstates, it's important to keep the interstates open. Our interstates and parkways are the top priority because they are more efficient than secondary roads, especially in extreme weather conditions. Now, what I mean by that? Well, it's easier for our plows to work on the interstates. And with more than one lane and with emergency lanes, we have the access, more room to maneuver, to turn vehicles around when necessary. And remember, the same icy conditions exist on the side roads, the secondary roads. Now, the current situation, both the governor and Director Slinker have already spoken to this, but I want to speak to it as well. The conditions on I-71 northbound in Gallatin County between mile marker 62 and 66, vehicles have been stalled, some still stalled, backed up. Mile marker 62 is the exit onto US 127, which is a two-lane. Now we have 2 lanes of interstate in each direction. And as the governor said, and as the director said, I-71 North is closed beginning at exit 55. Kentucky State Police are clearing the backups on both ends of this queue. And we're working with state police, that is, the Transportation Cabinet is working with state police to move vehicles to open up 1 lane of traffic for our trucks so our transportation trucks, our plows, can treat this lane. Stalled vehicles can then use that lane to continue north on I-71. I-71 is open to traffic still, but it's moving slowly and primarily as in this 1 lane. Vehicles have been reported to be stalled, yes, since last night. The good news is, if there's good news in this dangerous situation, I want to say that daylight and sunlight is good news. The thermal effect of this means that our treatments can become incrementally more effective, but travel will still be, yes, dangerous and treacherous. And that's why the governor has just issued the executive order, or will be issuing the executive order, to reduce the speed limit from the current speed limit to 45 miles per hour. And that is the location from the 71-75 interchange all the way to the Waterston Expressway on 71. We will be messaging this on our overhead message boards through transportation and through the transportation media. So let me say this again. Avoid travel. I can speak to you from experience now this morning. If travel is absolutely unavoidable, be prepared for long delays and pack an emergency kit with enough supplies for passengers should you be stranded for multiple hours. Governor.
All right, we'll open it up to questions. We have 3 journalists on the line. First is Danny Valley from WSIL. Not coming through? Ricky Sayer from WLEX.
Hi, Governor. About these power outages, I have 2 questions. Could things get worse before they get better, especially if people don't heed these messages about reducing their power usage? And when it comes to these blackouts, we've seen cold like this before, even colder, but no one seems to remember these rolling blackouts being necessary. What's changed?
Yeah, I'm not sure that I would, sometimes the term blackout is used when power goes off, as opposed to what's being done here is intentional, knowing that the load right now is greater than that part of the system LG&E in Lexington can keep up with, but they're close. And what that means is that they can plan this out strategically so no one is out for long. Obviously, this is where they are intentionally taking these steps as opposed to where people may have lost power because of down tree limbs. The longer it stays this cold, the more other systems across the state could be challenged. But the good news is it's getting warmer, and it's getting warmer each day. So for our utility providers, it's really about making it through, especially tomorrow. And at worst, the day after that. So We expect for it to be touch and go today and into tomorrow, but it's not an extended period of time. And if there is good news for what, for instance, LG&E is having to do, is that it is planned out, that they can spread it across the system, and that they can keep everybody's house warm enough the way they're doing this. I believe this is lessons learned from other places where they actually had uncontrolled blackouts that occurred. So listen, it's not optimal, but when Mother Nature gets down to negative 25 to 35 degrees wind chill, no system is designed for something that is that cold. And of course, the system would be taxed. We're now on it was Thursday, Friday, day 3. But again, we think every day things are going to get better. And everything we've seen thus far suggests that while 40-something thousand power outages is too many, that we're going to make it through the next couple days in terms of power. It's not necessarily going to be comfortable, but we're going to make it. Bria Jones, WFPL.
Hi, Governor. Do we know? Do we know which areas are seeing the worst of it as far as ice and stuff goes? Whether it's the western part of the state, central or eastern part.
So what's happening here is if you think about how the Arctic front moved through, how it hit the west first, well, it's going to warm up the same way. All right, the West is already a lot warmer than the bluegrass region. And so right now, when we look at wind chill, it's certainly in the central region is the coldest. Now, in terms of ice on the roads, it's everywhere. That's still where we are. I mean, the West will get the first relief as it warms up a little bit more. It'll be the first area where the treatment that we use on the roads will be effective and soon, we hope, by tomorrow, even optimal in how it can work. But certainly the further east that you are, though, kind of the northeast has gotten hit the most the way the front worked through. That's where you're going to see ice the longest. But listen, right now, if you go and you get in your car, expect to drive on ice the whole time. That's what your expectation should be. You ought to not be going very far. You ought to go very, very slowly, and it ought to take you, if you're being safe, 8 to 10 times longer to get there. Again, if you can, hunker down. I know it's Christmas Eve. Hold those that you love close and check on the people around you. Listen, this holiday to me, again, represents life and new life. We want to make sure everybody's safe. It also represents love of our neighbors. So make sure you're checking in on people, especially our seniors, and just make the best decisions that you can for you and your family. I want to say a big thank you to all of our state employees, local first responders, everybody that's out there in the cold in the Emergency Operations Center. So you gave up yesterday. You're going to be giving up most of your Christmas Eve and maybe some of your Christmas Day, but you're living your faith and values. You're truly living out the meaning of this season. Thank you for your sacrifice, and thank you for loving your neighbor as yourself, whether they are Kentuckians or those from other states that are on our roads right now. Thank you for what you're doing. All right. Thank you all. Unless it is necessary, we will not have a live update tomorrow on Christmas Day, but we will be, again, putting out updates on social media and others. It should get better tomorrow. So if you're planning on seeing some family that hopefully lives close but might be a drive, Christmas Day is going to be safer than Christmas Eve. But to everybody out there, Merry Christmas. We can't choose what the weather's like and the road conditions are like during it, but we can love each other nonetheless and live out the season to its fullest. Merry Christmas. To all the kids, Santa's still coming. Ice can't stop him. Nothing can stop him. That's why he's Santa.
We've been watching an update from state officials about some of the problems the storm and frigid temperatures are causing across Kentucky. We do want to get to some of the, key points of this and to lace what you'll see today and for the rest of your Christmas weekend here. But just to kind of go through some of these details of what Governor Beshear just said, wind chill advisory going to be through this afternoon for everyone that needs to be made aware of it. And a very strong message here. Stay home, stay safe, stay alive. The opening words from Governor Beshear to break all of this stuff down. Traveling is not safe. They're reiterating that. They've talked about this the past few days here. State leaders, local leaders for us here in Lexington. Do not travel if you do not have to. Also addressing road conditions here. One of the big ones, I-71. We've been reporting on that as well. A major accident that has gone on, that is currently going on. One of 3 major accidents that have been attributed to this weather, and they've been separate incidences that the mayor as well as Jim Gray, the transportation secretary, has broken down for us here, and they're working to get the interstates cleared. Jim Gray talking about how important the interstates are to get those cleared off, to be able to get those cleared and to actually treat them. That's been the really big problem here, is that everything has been so congested up that treatment has not been able to be done properly. So they're trying to work on getting everything cleared off as best they can. The main accident right now on I-71 is in Gallatin County at marker 63, mile marker 63, people being diverted to mile marker 62, that exit, which is the Glencoe exit, and the road itself is actually closed off from mile marker exit 55 through to where all that congestion is towards 63 to 66. So about a 10-mile stretch there on 71 that is broken up right now. They are working to divert people off of the northbound lane into southbound, which is slow-moving traffic, but it is moving. So again, people are trying to get off the roads, it's trying to avoid putting more people in that position. As you get closer to Louisville, more accidents are being seen that way as well. So it's trying to be mindful of all of that. We also heard from Jeremy Slinker, who is the Emergency Management Director, Emergency Management Center staff at full staff, even more people involved, trying to work through everything here. They're going to be working throughout today, throughout tomorrow, until we start to see the temperatures warm back up here. Don't encounter these large-scale accidents very often, according to Slinker. So it's just trying to make sure that they're doing everything that they can and everyone is adhering to what is the best practices right now. For anybody that is at home trying to stay warm, as we all are through how cold it is, we are advised to try and use our energy smartly and efficiently to make sure that everybody can have as much power as they can. It's limiting how many lights you have on in the house. If you're using generators, keep the generators outside. Just small things that we're being advised to do to be able to maximize how many homes can keep power, because there are more than 43,000 power outages across the state right now, 43,289 that we are tracking right now. So everything is being done to try and get as much power back as we can. We even spoke last night, Sean Moody doing a story about this last night through Kentucky Utilities, of these rolling blackouts that are being done, these premeditated rolling blackouts for 20 or 30 minutes sporadically to try and mitigate and limit how long people are without power in general. So it's something that we have not seen a lot of, not in known history for Kentucky Utilities to do, but Governor Beshear talks about this being a very strategic plan to, again, mitigate how long people are without power. 20, 30 minutes on and off throughout the day is hopefully trying to get a little bit more power toward a home that does not have any power at all. So everything is really going back toward this message of just staying safe, right? All the leaders that we just heard from, Jeremy Slinker, Jim Gray, and Governor Beshear, stay safe and stay alive. That's what we're trying our best to do here. And as hard as it can be for a lot of us with travel, obviously it's Christmas Eve, it's the holidays. Governor Beshear understands that as well. It's him just reiterating the fact that he wants everyone to be as safe as possible, still in life-endangering conditions here with the wind chill, with the ice, with potential snow coming in the next couple of days as well. It's something that is going to be a day-by-day situation. Governor Beshear is optimistic that in the next couple of days things will get better, but again, it's a day-by-day situation. But that is kind of the key points here from what we just heard from Governor Beshear. Now, let's check in with meteorologist Emily Goodman of what we can expect throughout the rest of the day. Emily.
Yeah, Evan, it looks like we may even have just a couple of snow flurries, or even some of the wind blowing some of the snow around, reducing visibility. So that's another factor we have to take into consideration. Still obviously very cold. It has clouded back up. I think we are going to see some times of sunshine today, so that will help. Temperatures are now up to about about 7 degrees. So we're moving in the right direction, and we're looking for high temperatures to reach the teens. Obviously, still have some west-southwest winds right now, around 14 miles per hour. Temperatures across the nation still extremely cold. Just about everyone is cold. Even Miami right now down to 51 degrees. Jacksonville 29. Atlanta's at 13. Memphis is at 16 degrees. We have winds here in the state up to 15, 20 miles per hour. Gusts even higher than that, 30 to 35 miles per hour today. So that's why the wind chill advisory is still in effect until 1 p.m. So a few more hours to go for that. Right now, wind chills again coming up to negative 10 degrees. It's not nearly as bad as it was yesterday, but still very bad. And if you have to be outside for any length of time, you need to layer and bundle, because the longer you're out, the worse it gets. And it doesn't take very long before you start to feel pain and then eventually potentially frostbite. A look ahead to the next 3 days, as the governor was talking about, we're seeing the temperatures increasing. So tomorrow is a better day, more sun, temperatures get up close to 20 degrees. We don't make it to freezing just yet, but every bump up does help. 28 degrees for your high temperature on Monday, but it also comes with another shot at some snow showers. And then beyond that, we're going to see the 30s, 40s, even 50s. Evan.
Thank you very much, Emily, and thank you all for joining us on this update on the winter storm. Be sure to join us tonight for LEX 18 News at 6 for the latest conditions. And of course, you can get updates 24/7 on our website, lex18.com. We will make sure you are completely in the loop with everything we are hearing from state leaders. Thank you so much for watching. Stay warm out there, everyone.